Welcome back here today in room 171, otherwise known as Studio B, right here on the beautiful campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College. Another in our series of talking to artists, creatives, videographers, photographers, drone operators, anybody who makes things happen in a creative format. That's who we want to talk to. And especially students, former students, graduated students from right here on the campus. And today we're doing just that. We've got the pleasure of speaking with Katarinna Jackson, who has been with me for 2 years, a little bit over 2 years actually, getting ready to graduate here in another week or so. When we come back, we're going to talk to Kat about her experiences over that 30-some months of schooling. There's been ups and downs. It's not always been fun. It's definitely hard work. But we're going to talk to Kat about some of her impressions after all that period of time, maybe get some ideas from her, how she felt coming in, how things progressed as the 2-year time period went on, and some of the advice that she would have either for or against the class if you're somebody who might be considering looking seriously at taking this class. Again, it's hard work. It's not for everybody. And when we come back, we're going to do just that. We're going to talk to Kat Jackson, and we will be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guest today is Kat Jackson, Katarinna. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you're ready to get out of here. You've only got a couple of days left, and then next week or the week after we graduate. But thanks for doing this.
Yes, sir. No problem.
You started with me over 2 years ago. You finished up another course that you were taking here on campus, and you had several weeks before the end of that school year. You wanted to come the next year, and I said, why don't you just come and get in whatever time you're able to before this year is over? And you did just that, putting you ahead of the class that came in the next fall. Talk a little bit about what attracted you to this class, Katarinna. What motivated you to even look in this direction, and how you ended up here?
I came over here and you guys were, in the studio taking pictures, and you allowed us to take part in it, and you explained a little bit about the class. And after that, it was just, I felt so, it gave me something to look forward to. And I got out of the GEU program within, I think, a month I'm coming over here. And I would say that's because I had motivation to do it.
So we served you in good stead from that point of view, too. It kind of motivated you to get done and to get your high school diploma.
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
I honestly feel like if I didn't find this class, it would have took me another year to complete the GED program.
Wow. And to what do you attribute that? Just you had something to look forward to after the fact?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Do you think a lot of young people like yourself maybe face those kinds of situations where if they just had something, they could see that light at the end of the tunnel instead of it just being drudgery day after day? Because it's no fun having dropped out of school or left school for whatever reason and coming back. Hats off to you for coming back for your diploma. But that's not an easy thing to do. Do you think that if we let people who are in that same situation know that maybe that would give them a little bit more motivation?
Yes, sir, I do. I think that a lot of people in my generation just don't know how many options they have out there. That's why I like the school so much, because they'll allow you to come in and shadow a class and see if you actually like it before you get started in it.
Try before you buy.
Yes, sir.
So you came to digital video technology, a 900-hour course. You actually finished early because you started early. So when that happened at the end of that year, it was almost time for graduation. But I suggested to you, since you had expressed to me that you were interested in knowing something more about marketing and advertising, that you returned for the television production class, a 1,200-hour course. And you agreed to do that. And now here you are graduating from your second class after 2,100 hours in total. Did we help you in that marketing area? Because that was some of your expressed interest. Did we do anything to help you in that respect?
Honestly, I feel like marketing is at least half the class, because, you're learning how to make videos and take pictures and post them out there on social media.
And just as I talk to you guys, almost everybody in the world's on social media to some extent. Obviously, there are a few diehard conspiracy theorists that swear that, if they get on social media, they're going to get a virus on their computer and get sent to Russia or something. But Most everybody's on it. Now, some are just lurkers. They just scroll and vicariously live their lives through other people's lives. There are those who are just the opposite end of the spectrum. They're the influencers who have to do the duck lip selfies in front of everything and constantly replying to everybody else's comments. And so both of those ends of the spectrum. But then there's the ones who actually use it for productivity. My wife loves it because she can stay in touch with the kids and the grandkids. And I think that a lot of the baby boomer generation uses it exactly for that. As I explained to you guys, we've used it successfully for 20 years now, the social media, as literally a revenue stream, using it as a way to advertise for our clients through our business, which is a public relations firm. Do you feel that you are better prepared to do that, to use social media, either to promote your own business or to work for other clients, other businesses as you go?
Yes, sir. I think that you teach us a lot about the algorithm and how consistently posting will get our content out there more. And just there's so much to it that is beneficial to me and other people in my situation.
Well, part of this class, you have to build a website. You have to build 5 or 6 social media pages. And as I keep telling you, those are disposable. If you want to throw them away and never use them again at the end of the class, that's fine. But it's more for your benefit, because if you post your videos and photos that you produce at the beginning of the year and consistently do so, when you look back, you're going to not only see how much you've improved, but you're not going to want to make the same mistakes that you made before. So it really is a teaching tool. For me, it helps my efforts to show you how you have improved. I don't have to tell you you've improved. All you have to do is look at the stuff you did a month or two ago, and you know that you have. I know that you've shot a lot of photos. You've become quite a good photographer, frankly. Talk a little bit about the fact that you've already been taking some paying jobs, that you've already been out there doing some photography, hopefully as a direct result of what you learned in class.
Yes, sir. I have done a few wedding shoots. I've got to do some baseball pictures, and I got to do a couple shoot a couple months back ago.
And you brought one of your clients into the studio not long ago for a maternity shoot.
Yes, sir.
As well. So I'm preaching to the choir when I talk to you, because you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. You've also seen people leave this class, both years that you were here, for the 900-hour digital video and also for the 1,200-hour television production. You saw that people came here either with an attitude or with some preconceived notion and didn't last long, while others bloomed and flourished in this atmosphere. What kind of person does not do well in this kind of class?
I think it's mainly the people who weren't really held accountable growing up. Like they can get away with whatever they want, and they don't really have to have good manners because they're just kind of pushed through the system.
We have certain tenets that we hold to that have nothing to do with the photography or the videography or the television production or the drone and technology. And those are pretty much just common sense to me. They're common courtesies. If somebody sneezes, we suggest that we say, bless you. It's not a religious thing. It's just a courtesy. When you get here in the morning, everybody says good morning. It's just a way to start the day. I've experienced in high schools, people coming in and literally don't say a word for the most of the day. And that's terrible. And they can get away with it. We arguably deal with communication in all formats as far as this creative process. And you've got to have a vocabulary. You've got to be willing to use that vocabulary. And more importantly, you have to be willing to speak to others, especially those who you don't know, to be able to increase your chances of doing well once you get out of this class. What's one of the harder parts of this class, would you say?
I'd say it'd definitely be time management and communication.
And what about the time management? What part of that, how does that affect you negatively?
Well, you're expected to complete, videos or submit a certain amount of photos within a certain time frame. And sometimes you just feel like you're not capable in doing that. And most of the time, we get them in no problem. And I feel like that's what you expected because we do end up finishing them.
Would it be fair to say that you can actually do more than you think you can do?
Most definitely.
I think you experienced last year uh, at the start of the digital video technology that you took, we had a couple people that they just didn't want to adhere to that. They had had life experiences, some in the service, some in other parts of life, but they were not in that student mode, and they did not definitely want to be told what to do. There has to be a boss, and the interesting thing about my program specifically is that we run this like a business. And when you come in, you are my employee. You clock in, you clock out, you get credit for when you're here. You are given assignments, which you must accomplish. As you point out, you have to have your video, say, for instance, TV commercial have to be submitted up to broadcast standards by a certain time within 3 hours or the close of business or whatever it happens to be. And all that's doing is getting you ready to be able to get out there and make money. If you take 4 days to do a job that you should be able to do in 3 hours, you're never going to make any money. You're going to get really tired of it and you go, boy, there's nothing in photography that's good for me. And you're going to go off and do something else. So do you think you've changed in your way that you manage time?
Yes, now I have a system that I rely on to get stuff done. And I feel like that not only affects me in school, but when I'm at my job, at my house, just doing basic things, it just doesn't take as much time as it used to.
Interesting. And I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for sharing that. I could easily convince people to take my class. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I think I can present it in such a way that as long as I only talked about the good parts of the class, that I could probably convince most anybody to take the class. However, probably half of those people would not like me after the fact because in reality, there's a whole lot to this class that is not so much fun, such as morning time management. Do you think anybody could possibly take this class, or do you think there just are some people that this is just simply not for them?
I think that most people, if they really stuck with it and they wanted to do it, they could. But there is a select group of people that I do not think would be able to get through it.
One of the common things I have students tell me, especially at the end of a school year, is that they came in looking for something. They only wanted to shoot photographs. They wanted to be a photographer. They only wanted to shoot video. They wanted to be a television production person or a radio production person only doing audio. Or they only wanted to fly drones, or they only wanted to do some part of any or all of those. And yet by the end of the year, they were exposed to so much more that now they embraced pretty much that whole gamut of production. Did you feel like that at all? Or did you experience that sort of thing?
Well, I came in here only wanting to do marketing, and now I have a camera and I'm out shooting photos on the side. So I most definitely did. And I didn't think I was going to like video editing as much as I did, but I do. So yeah, I think I could say that with confidence.
You mentioned getting a camera. Almost every student that sticks with this program past the first couple of weeks, I promise that they will be able to graduate. Because if you make it past the first couple of weeks, you've already seen the worst that can be, and there's just more of it. But if you made it the first couple of weeks, you're going to make it for the rest of the year. And that way I can promise you that you're going to graduate. But even those who only wanted to do a certain thing end up buying a camera. And like you say, end up taking pictures and becoming enthralled. I've had people come in just wanting to do photography and leave here, and they haven't taken many pictures since they left, but they've shot a lot of video. They just kind of took a right-hand turn there. What would you say to somebody who was interested, that you felt was creative, who, when you told them what you experienced in here, were interested in hearing more? What would you say to them, not so much to convince them to come, but for them to be aware of, just in the event that all of this stuff is not for them? I tell you students that you don't have to be fast or creative at the beginning of the school year. We take our time. We learn to do things right. We learn to do things a certain way. And then speed comes over time, and the creativity comes over time as well. I tell you guys all the time, and it's very true, that I am the least creative person that I know. I just take other people's ideas and steal them and make them my own, which is really what creativity is anyway. There's nothing new. You're not gonna invent a guitar part. It's going to be the product of something you've heard before. You're not going to come up with a new picture of anybody. There's been so many pictures taken of people that you can't ever take a picture that hasn't been taken before. But creativity is making it your own and combining other people's styles and so forth. What would you tell somebody who was interested in the class and that you would want them to be aware of before they committed? So in other words, some of the warts that maybe are not apparent at the beginning.
A few things I had problems with coming in here was, well, for one, you're really loud. And, you have to be on camera. When you're editing video, you have to hear your own voice, which is not too pleasant. And I think you're just a very hard-headed teacher. Like, you drive the point through, but you want us to understand it. So you're teaching it, but sometimes it can be a little overwhelming for someone who's just getting out there in it.
Is that a negative thing, or is it something you can kind of get used to over time? Or obviously there are some that never get over it. We've seen people leave but everybody has somebody they don't get along with. And you have to accept that. As a teacher, I can't expect that I'm going to be able to connect with every student the way that I do with most of my students.
I think at first it's a negative, but then you kind of start to understand that you don't have to remember everything on the first go around. And of course, sometimes there's going to be times where I don't get along with you and I'll think you're wrong, but it's just, it goes away pretty quickly. I feel like as long as you learn not to hold a grudge, you'll get through this class pretty quickly.
I'm glad you say that, because I think I explained that to you guys, that even if I yell and rant about something that was done wrong, 2 seconds later, we've reset and we're just back to where we were. That's my way of expressing. Some people don't speak at all. To me, that's very frustrating. When I'm trying to get somebody to give me an answer and they don't speak at all. And there are people like that, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that some of those people come out of their shell due to this class?
Well, when I first started, I was whispering. I was barely even talking. And I feel like now I'm louder, I'm more expressive. So I think it definitely kind of, I wouldn't say brings you out of your shell. I think it drags you out of your shell.
Well, I appreciate you having been my student, number one. I'm going to miss you. You've been here for over 2 years. Hopefully you'll come back and say hello, see some of the students over time. Most of my students do. They drop by. But more importantly, I wish you all the best. I hope that you're able to find a purpose and a use for what you've learned here. I know there are a couple of other job directions that you're looking at this point. And I certainly realize that not everybody can get out there with a camera and make a living the week after they graduate. It's something that usually starts off as a side hustle, and then it grows into something more. And eventually some people do make a living with a camera, photo, video, whatever. But it's something that you can always use when you have kids, and you say you've got a bunch of nephews, so you're shooting them all the time. So whether you have children or not, but when you do have those children, if you do, a camera is going to be invaluable. So you're always going to have an opportunity to use that. And I think more importantly, you don't know just how to use the camera, but you know how to force yourself to be creative if you have to. Well, again, thank you very much. Best of luck going forward. I look forward to giving you a hug on the stage and when you get your diploma. And that's what I do with all my students on the graduation day. I give them a hug, I tell them I love them, and I say, now go get a job. But thank you so much for doing this today.
Yes, sir. No problem. I actually enjoyed it. So
that says it all. You wouldn't have done this a year ago or 2 years ago.
definitely not.
Our guest today has been Katarinna Jackson, one of my successful students, getting ready to graduate, getting ready to take a look at that hard, cruel world, become a taxpayer, and lose the benefit of this nest, this fertile environment with a whole bunch of other creative students. If you have someone in your life, or if you yourself like anything that you hear, perhaps come on by, take a look at what we have to offer. It's not for everybody, but if it's for you, you'll definitely thrive in this environment. We're here today in room 171, otherwise known as Studio B, and life is good here at Florida Panhandle Technical College. We'll be right back.